Nam's English Journey. My name is Nam, and this is my English journey. I was born and grew up in Vietnam. Like many Vietnamese students, I started learning English in primary school. Every year, I learned new vocabulary, new grammar rules, and practiced reading and writing. But there was one big problem. I hardly ever spoke English. At school, the teachers were kind, but there were 40 or 50 students in one class. There was no time for each student to practice speaking. Mostly, we did exercises, learned grammar, and copied sentences from the board. So after many years of studying English, I could read a little, write a little, but I couldn't speak. After high school, when I finished grade 12, my dream was to speak English well. I wanted to travel. I wanted a good job. I wanted to talk with people from other countries. But the truth was painful. After high school, my family didn't have much money, so I didn't go to university right away. Instead, I started working in a small office as an assistant. At first, my job was simple, making photocopies, filing documents, answering phones, and bringing coffee to the staff. I thought I wouldn't need English much. But soon, everything changed. A foreign visitor. One day, I was walking near my office when a foreign man stopped me on the street. He smiled and said, "Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to the market?" At that moment, my brain froze. I knew the words for go straight, turn left, it's near here, but suddenly my mouth couldn't move. My heart was beating fast. My face was red. I felt sweat on my back. I stood there in silence. Then I pointed in the direction of the market and said in Vietnamese, "Đi Tang." The foreign man looked confused and left. I felt so ashamed. I thought, what's wrong with me? I studied English for years, but I can't say one simple sentence. A problem at work. A few weeks later, my boss, Mr. Min, called me into his office. He said, "Nam, next week an American client is visiting us. Can you help with some conversation?" My stomach dropped. I shook my head and said, "Sorry, I'm in. I can't speak English." Mr. Min sighed. "Nam, English is important for our company. We have foreign customers. You should try to practice." I left his office feeling terrible. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, looking at the ceiling, thinking about my future. I thought, if I can't speak English, I will always have a small life. I will always stay in the same job. I will never travel. I will never make foreign friends. I will always feel scared. But deep inside, a small voice said, "Nam, you can change. Try again." My decision. The next day, I went to a small coffee shop near my office. Inside, I saw a foreign man sitting alone, reading a newspaper. My heart was beating so fast. My legs were shaking. My mouth felt dry. But I thought, if I don't try today, I may never try. So I walked up to him and said, "Hello, my name is Nam. I learn English." The man looked up and smiled. "Hello, Nam. Nice to meet you. I'm David." I felt relief wash over me. Slowly I asked, "Where are you from?" David said, "I'm from England." We talked for about 10 minutes. I understood only half of what he said. But when I left the cafe, I felt like a hero. I thought, today I really spoke English. My daily practice. After that day, I made a promise to myself. I would practice speaking English every day. At home, I talked to myself in English. Every morning, I looked into the mirror and said, "Good morning, Nam. Today is a good day. Don't be afraid." I talked to my dog. I talked to my pillow. I talked to my coffee cup. It felt strange. Sometimes my mother looked at me and laughed. But I didn't care. My funny mistakes. Of course, I made many mistakes. One time at work, I wanted to tell my colleague that I was full after lunch. I meant to say, "I'm full." But I said, "I'm full." Everyone laughed. I laughed too, but inside I felt a bit embarrassed. Another time, I said, "I'm very exciting today," instead of, "I'm very excited today." My colleague said, "Wow, Nam, you are exciting." I turned red like a tomato. But every mistake was a lesson. I wrote down my mistakes and tried to remember the correct way. Shadowing. One evening, I discovered a method called shadowing. It means listen to someone speaking English. Repeat immediately, copying their voice, speed, and intonation. At first, it was so hard. My tongue felt tired. But I kept going. I practiced with movies, songs, YouTube videos. I especially loved watching cartoons because the voices were clear and funny. Slowly, my pronunciation became better. My tongue didn't feel stuck anymore. Joining an English club. I also joined an English club. The first time I went, my hands were shaking. My palms were sweating. But when I introduced myself, everyone smiled. We played games. We practiced speaking. I realized something important. Everybody there was afraid too. But nobody laughed at mistakes. Instead, we laughed together. I started going every week. My confidence grew. English at work. Months passed. My English slowly improved. One day, Mr. Min called me into his office again. "Nam, the American client, is visiting tomorrow. Please help with some conversation." I felt nervous, but said, "Okay, I will try." When the American man came, Mr. Min introduced me. "This is Nam, our assistant." The man smiled and said, "Hi, Nam. Nice to meet you." I replied, "Nice to meet you too." Then he started speaking very fast. I didn't understand. So I said, "Sorry, can you speak more slowly, please?" He laughed kindly and said, "Of course." After the meeting, Mr. Min said, "Good job, Nam. You're improving." I felt like I won the lottery. New responsibilities. Later, Mr. Min gave me a new job, writing simple emails in English. At first, I was so scared. I checked every sentence 10 times. But after a few months, writing emails became easier. My first trip abroad. 3 years after starting my job, I went on a business trip to Singapore. At Changi Airport, the immigration officer asked, "Purpose of your visit?" I answered, "Business." He stamped my passport and said, "Welcome to Singapore." I felt like flying. In Singapore, I used English everywhere, in restaurants, shops, hotels. Sometimes I didn't understand, but I learned to ask, "Sorry, can you say that again?" Or, "Can you speak more slowly?" People were friendly. When I came home, I felt so proud. Helping others. Now, years later, I'm still working at the same company, but I'm a team leader. I help younger colleagues write emails and make phone calls in English. Many of them are like the old me, afraid to speak. I tell them, don't wait until you're perfect. Speak now. Make mistakes. Learn. I share my funny stories like saying I'm full. We laugh together. My life now. Today, I watch English movies without subtitles. I listen to English music. I read English books. I have friends from many countries. I travel. I help others learn English. Sometimes, I remember the boy who couldn't answer a simple question on the street. And I smile. I feel proud. My life is bigger because of English. My message. So, my message is this. Don't wait to be perfect. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Open your mouth and speak. Every mistake teaches you something. English can change your life. That is Nam's English journey. Thank you for listening to my story.